Jack it up.
Welcome, everybody, to A Champion's Life, brought to you by RiseUpChamps.com. I'm Easy Allen, easy like Sunday morning. Our guest today is Coach Chris Chudada. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, now, Chris, our audience, what they want to know is who's the man behind the coach? Who is he?
Oh, I think Chris Chudada is what you see is what you get kind of guy. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. He doesn't really. He's going to tell you the truth, no matter if it hurts or not. I think that's the most respectful way of doing things. If you really love somebody, you're going to tell them the truth, even if it hurts, rather than a comforting lie. I think Chris Chudada, he's tough-minded. He was raised by a great family, very loving and caring dad who supported him. He's gone through a lot of adversity and challenges, and that he learned a lot of lessons along the way overcoming those challenges, and the lessons that he learned and everything that he has gone through has made the man today.
Oh, that sounds great, Coach. Now, tell us a little bit about your close-knit family. It says you grew up in a Catholic household, and you were close to your dad. And you guys, since you guys are in Wisconsin, I guess it's a given that you guys have to be by proxy. I guess that you are a Green Bay Packers fan.
Oh yeah,
and, that has to be. So what we want to do is since we're actually talking to diehard Packers fans out there that are listening, we want to give a shout out to George Kuntz Jr. He's the doctor of defense. He's good friends with Reggie White and Brett Favre. We just want to say, hey, we love you guys. We love what you did during the league. And our fans out there, the Green Bay Packers, we give it up to them. So anyways, Chris, tell us about your dad. How did he enrich your life, and what was going on with him growing up?
My dad was a great mentor. If I had to describe my dad in one word, I'd say mentor. He taught me about life. He taught me the challenges of life and how to overcome them. He was very honest with me as a young boy. He said, hey, life is not an easy thing to go through. You're going to have your hardships. You're going to have to make tough decisions in your life. And he basically brought me and my brother up to teaching us to be tough, not to blame, not to put blame on anybody, have accountability, have discipline in what you do. And also he was a very spiritual guy. God was around our household a lot. So was the Green Bay Packers, like you mentioned. Every Sunday during the fall, it was like a ritual. The Packer game was always on in my house, and me and my dad and my brother always got together and watched a Packer game together. During those times in the early 80s, there were some lean years, but as a kid, just watching the game with my dad was a treat. We would share stories. He would tell me the things about the game, what everybody did on the field, and he kind of said life lessons out of what we were watching in the game. He would say, "Oh, see there," he said, "he got ran over, the linebacker got ran over by a running back, he didn't get low enough, he wasn't disciplined enough. Chris, you got to be disciplined in your life, otherwise you're just going to get run over." And, he would make life lessons out of that while we were watching the game. So, my dad was a very caring guy. I owe everything I am today to my dad. It's hard talking about it because, my dad passed away in 97 from lung cancer. And even though it was a very long time ago, it still hurts. You still miss him every day. So, I'm a father myself. I have a 3-year-old son who I cherish and love every day. And, my goal in life is to be half the father my dad was. If I'm half the father my dad was to my son, I'm extremely grateful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate because, I've got kids myself and, I lost my dad in '08. And, my dad, our dads are our heroes. My dad, he was 89 years old. My dad he was a World War II veteran. He was in the Aleutian Islands campaign, during World War II. So, I can relate, losing somebody that's actually part of you. But what I do is I never acknowledge that he's not here anymore. I always remember all of our good times that we've had together. And that's how I keep, him inside is I never think about that he's actually not here anymore. Even when I go visit him at his gravesite, I'm like, you know what, Pop, I remember, going to the movies one day, or, we go out and do shopping one day, or just remember all the good times we had at home,
Right.
I mean,
absolutely.
like I said, my dad, he was a diehard Dodgers fan, so him and I would watch the Dodgers every day. And with me growing up, after a while, I became a diehard Raiders fan. So I've been watching the Raiders, ever since I was 6 years old. So I've been their fan, win or lose, no matter ups or downs, I'm still a Raiders fan, for life. So, with that, so I can relate to, that, your father's situation, like that. So, and with your brother, your brother is 5 years older than you or younger?
He's 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about your brother.
Ryan, he's 5 years younger than me. Because of the age gap, we got along great as kids. We hung around each other, everything. But, unfortunately, because of the age gap, we didn't get to play sports together. Obviously, we're in different tiers of age. So, we didn't really get to be on the same team, not until we got to semi-pro, and we got to be able to be on a team together, and that was really fun. But, Ryan's a good guy. Like I said, he was raised right. He has a beautiful wife, Rachel. He has one child who is 2 years old. His name is Jackson. And, there is another child on the way, which will be due in July, another boy. So, and he's a IT tech for the Kelly School District, and he's doing very well. So I'm very proud of my brother and what he's been able to accomplish. And like I said, he's a good man, and that will carry through his 2 young boys.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, through high school, how did high school go for you?
High school and middle school were very tough for me. I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome during the 6th grade. And for those of you who do not know what Tourette syndrome is, it's a neurological disorder. And you could be grunting, you could be doing tics, like blinking your eyes, doing some motions with your head. A lot of it in Hollywood today generalizes it as the swearing. You have Tourette, you're swearing out loud. That is one of the tics, but that is not what I have. Mine's mostly the grunting and the eye squinting. And when you're a kid, kids can be mean, especially if they don't understand what you have. And you know, I've said a long time ago that I rather would have had a disability that people could see. Because if I had one leg, or if I had one arm, or if something physically you could see me having, they would have never picked on me. No one would have ever said a word. But because I had Tourette, and because I was, I was a big, average looking kid, they just thought I was weird and something was wrong. And, so life was tough. My grades struggled. I had no social life really. My dad became my best friend. Every day after school, my dad would take me out, ask me how my day went. And obviously, I was down a lot of times, depressed. I mean, I got in fights every day. Lucky I was a big guy that I could defend myself. But, back in those days, the schools, and they've changed now. My wife's a teacher, and I really admire what she does and what her colleagues do at school. But back in the day, I didn't like teachers because their solution to the problem was to take me out of the classroom. And they would tell my father, who would get really upset and angry with these people, they would tell him that he's doing grunting and noises in the classroom and it's disturbing the class. So I'd rather save 11 than save one kid. And it was really a shot to the heart, but that's what they did. Tourette wasn't really known back in those days. I mean, it wasn't widespread as it is today. It's still kind of not widespread. But it was very difficult. So the only time I was really accepted in school was through sports. Sports actually was a lifesaver for me because it enabled me to have friends, enabled me to learn lessons on the field. I took my frustrations out in sports. So it was really a lifesaver for me. But through all those trials and adversity and all those challenges as a kid, I used to feel sorry for myself. I used to, sit there and say, why me? Why did God give me this terrible disorder? And my dad was always the one that was saying, hey, keep your chin up. You have two legs, you have two arms, you're well fed, you're a bright young guy. There's children out there that have way less than you. You have nothing to be sad about, and you have nothing to hang your head about. Yeah, so you have a tough time getting along with kids. Life sucks. But grow up, okay? There's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of things that, you are worth. So don't hang your head and think it's the end of the world just because you don't get along with a couple of kids in school. And just because you have this little disability, you're worth so much more. There's two things you can do in life, he said to me, and I'll never forget this. He's like, you can either give up and, it's game over, that's it, or you can fight. You can fight and you can get what you want. You can achieve anything you want if you continue to fight and keep grinding. And, that's kind of stuck with me, throughout my life. And so when I go through bad days or when I meet some rude people or, if I'm just having a hell of a time at work or play, I just think back to what my dad said to me. I think back of what all I've overcome through the years. And he's right. He's absolutely right. And, it's a tribute to him and his leadership that he was able to guide me through those lean years, and actually teach me how to cope and overcome such adversity. I mean, my dad was a great man. It was hard on him. It was hard on the family back then because when your son's coming home crying or beat up, from other kids, picking on him or picking fights with him, it's hard on a parent. It's stressful. And my dad went to wars with the superintendent. He went to wars with the principal and in the school districts. And, it tested our faith. It tested our spirit. It tested everything, who we were. But because of my dad's outlook and his leadership and his ability to not make me quit, to persevere, to push on, graduate high school, move on. Don't dwell in the past. Don't dwell on all these minor things that are going on with you. Just push, persevere, and we got through it. And I think I'm a better man for it. You know, you could sit in bed and you could rot away and feel sorry for yourself and think you never, you know, think, oh, poor me, the world hates me and nothing can go right. But I didn't do that. And I thank my dad for that. I thank my dad for pushing me through, you know, those hard times.
Right. And I had read one of your posts when it says that you used to say that I sure hope things will change. And I know that that's a lot of things that go through a lot of people's minds when they go, wow, you know, I sure hope things change, you know, when things are kind of in a slump for them. Then it says, then as I grew older and wiser, I realized that the only way things are going to change is for me to become the change.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
And so, you know, it sounds like with your father now, your father, he was in the military, wasn't he?
Yep, he was in the Air Force. He was, forgot which base he was stationed in Texas, but he was serving during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Hmm. Yeah, I had remembered seeing that. I had remembered seeing that back in the day when they had that on the news. So yeah.
Mhm. Yep. And he would always tell me stories about how his base were on full alert, and he was responsible for putting the oxygen in the tanks for the B-52 pilots. And
Okay.
you know, he would tell me a lot of stories. You know, when he was in the military, because you know, as a kid, you loved that kind of stuff, and it was you know, he served his country. He was very proud of doing that. He didn't look at it as a job. He looked at that as an obligation. My grandpa served in World War II. He was a member of the 101st Airborne, and you know, all through my life, or all through my family, it's been a life of service. I have cops in my family. I have firefighters in my family. I'm actually ashamed to say that I've broken the line of military service. I wanted to join the Marine Corps when I got out of high school, and because of Tourette, I couldn't join. Something with the guy said that there is no way that they can guarantee me that they can get my medication to me out in the field. So that automatically disqualified me. So, you know, I mean, but, you know, if anything happened to this country or if anything were to go wrong, hey, you know, I'm the first one in line to help defend her. Yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was a cool experience for my dad, and you know, like I said, he told us a lot of stories about it, and it was fun listening to him talk about what all happened back then.
Right, and I've got a lot of friends that of mine that have been in the military, and they've done a lot of hard combat service. So, you know, at this point, I'd like to just say, you know, thank you for all our veterans out there. Thank you for your father and your grandfather that was, you know, did their service to their country. You know, they do a lot. Because of them, we have our freedom and our liberties. You know, because of men like that, we have the freedom that we have in this country because of men like that put their life on the line for us. And we've got to thank all our servicemen and women out there that are hearing this, that, hey, you know, thanks a lot for giving us our freedom every day. And I know in the military, one of the main things in all of the branches that they teach, and I think this is why your father, in my opinion, that he kind of did this for you, is the one thing that they teach through all the branches that I know of is to adapt and overcome. And that's one of their main things that they teach throughout all of the branches, to adapt and overcome any situation that becomes you know, a situation for them. And that's what they do. So I know a lot of my friends, they put that in their personal lives. So, you know, I believe that since that, and, you know, since your dad was instilled with how he was, he instilled that in his family, you know, and he taught you to do that. Yep. So,
and I'm grateful. And like I said, I use those lessons he taught every day, you know, so I'm very grateful that he did that for me. And like I said, he is 90% of who I am today. So.
All right. Coach, let's talk about college. What did you do in college?
Went to Marquette for 3 years, Marquette University here in Milwaukee. I played on their club football team for 3 years. And it was a fun experience. even though we were a club football team, we played a lot of Division III schools, Carroll College, Carthage, Maranatha, Lakeland, and it was a great experience to play college football. It really was. The guys on that team, even though we weren't a major college program, or we weren't even a Division III college program, we bonded those, and we had the passion for the game. A lot of the guys that were on that team were guys that, were big time ball players. I thought they were very talented players, but because of one reason or another, they lost their shot. And being on that club team was their second chance in getting noticed, and it was a second chance of possibly going to a Division III, Division II school. So it was really fun for me, and like I said, I probably would have played one more year, but I had an opportunity come by and that I couldn't pass up, and I kind of told myself, well, I could always go back to school if I needed to. But I took the opportunity, and me and my dad formed a semi-pro football league in 1996.
Right. And I also know one of your quotes is, "My mindset has always been not to meet expectations, but to exceed them."
Right.
So when you come upon a situation, do you ever consider it as a problem, or do you consider it like, that's just one more hurdle that I just have to jump over and I'm going to get it done? Is that how you kind of view things?
Yeah, my mindset is always, it's a challenge. I'm a very competitive guy. I hate losing. I actually have a huge distaste for it. I hate it. And, if I lose a game in checkers to my brother, I'll throw the checkerboard away. It won't have anything to do with it. I'm very competitive. So any kind of situation I come into, whether it's working in the yard, digging building a new garden, or given a task on the football field, or whatever it may be, I look at it as a challenge, and I'm going to take it on. I'm going to take it head on. It's one of those values that my father instilled in me. When you do a job, do as best you can, have pride in what you do, and just give it all you got. If you're going to do something, do it right. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it at all. That was the golden rule. So yeah, I take every thing that comes my way is a challenge, and I look forward to the challenge. I look forward to competing, and I look forward to accomplishing my goal.
All right, that sounds fantastic, Coach. It says you play semi-pro football, Southeast Wisconsin. Kind of give us an overview of that.
Well, me and my dad created the Ironman Football League back in 1996. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1997 before he could even see the league grow into what it has become. We started out literally on backyard fields, or not backyard fields, but fields behind a tavern, on a converted softball diamond that we made into a football field. And we literally, in 5 or 6 years, went to playing on high school field turf stadiums and collegiate stadiums. And some of the things that we were able to accomplish, semi-pro, we all know, is kind of tainted. The brawl fights that happened at the games, turned a lot of sponsors off, so I was actually battling an uphill battle when I first got into semi-pro. And with the help, when my father died, I didn't really have a mentor. I didn't really have a guy that I could look up to, and, I was new to the business. I had the passion and love for football, but I wasn't really, educated in the business aspect of it. And in my third year of running the league, I was fortunate enough to run into a gentleman named Pete Nerai. His nickname is Pudgy, and he's an older gentleman in his 70s, and he kind of took me under his wing. Pudgy is WIA official. He's been involved with sports leagues all his life. He's been involved in running these organizations and everything. So he was a godsend to me when he came, when he did. And he kind of took me under his wing, and together we built I want to say we built an empire. We built, something strong and something that semi-pro has never seen before. We were able to obtain TV contracts from Time Warner Cable to get some of our games televised. We were able to get sponsorship, big sponsors. These people, there's a lot of people around here that say you couldn't do this, you can't do that, and we proved them all wrong. We were getting quality teams. We were sending players to colleges. We were sending game film up to these colleges. We kind of used the same thing as, the ideal, that club football team in Marquette, we used as, that as the Ironman Football League. The stage to give these guys a chance to, or another opportunity to get to the next level. Now, 90% of the league was formed on guys who just wasn't ready to give up the game. They were out of high school or college, and they're still young enough, still had the fire in the belly to play football. Well, we offered them that outlet to play full contact football on a team with uniforms and to play on a quality turf field with playoffs, and we call it, our Super Bowl was the Iron Bowl. And it was a great thing. We ran that for 15 years, and we did a pretty good job. Pudgy is in 2 Hall of Fames. I'm in 3 Hall of Fames as an executive and commissioner. I was the youngest commissioner ever at age 21 of a minor sports league. So, that in itself gave me a lot of experience in the business way. That in itself gave me a lot of experience in how to evaluate players. Because when players came in, we evaluated them. We had to grade them and everything to send the information to whoever was called and was interested in them. So it was a great 15 years, and at that time in 2010, another opportunity came, and at that time, with everything that we've accomplished, I thought we've reached our plateau, and I didn't think we were going to get any bigger or better than what we were at that time. So my mindset was, instead of spinning my wheels and being the same, still keep, running this football league, happy, but not really achieving what I want, not getting to the peak of the mountain, so to speak. Or I could get this new opportunity, an opportunity that I was very interested in for a while, but couldn't do because I was the owner and the CEO of the league. And I decided in 2010 to sell the league and to take up coaching, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Now, when you evaluate these kids, now I know that a lot of these kids, a lot of their parents are saying, hey, you know what, go try out for football. I know a lot of parents are saying, hey, maybe you could be an athlete. Now, I know in the hearts of these young kids, there's kids out there that they'll go try out, and if they get on the team, that's great. They're satisfying their parents. But then you have the kids out there that actually have a passion and a drive for football. Do you have a knack or talent for picking out these kids?
Are you talking semi-pro, or are you talking as a coach in high school?
As a coach in general, semi-pro or anything, as dealing with football, period, when you deal with athletes.
Okay. Well, yeah, we if the kid has an ability and a raw talent, you want to make sure that, he's right, character-wise, because no college is going to accept a kid that's out of control, no matter how talented he is. If he doesn't have character to him, he's not going to get into any kind of college or the next level. There are kids that have a passion for football, then they show that their passion is on display in practices and in games. When they get on the field, those are the kind of kids that will run through a wall for you. And those kind of kids, as a coach, if those kids are less talented than the others, okay, and you want to get them on the field because they love it, they've worked their butts off for it, they deserve the opportunity to get out there and play. So you try and get them on the field. If they are one of the talented ones, and they're good people, and they just have the passion for the game. They love the sport. They love being out there. They know what it takes to win. They do everything what's asked of them. They meet expectations. They lift weights. They run. They, they do everything what the coach asks of them. That's the kids you love. That's the kids that are the pride of coaching, and I've had the opportunity to have some of those kids, and they've went on to play college football, and I'm still friends with them today, and I'm still friends with all my players today. Yeah, I mean that's basically what you do in that situation.
Now, I know one of your quotes is it says, "The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, be kind but not weak, be bold but not bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, and have humor but without folly." Now, do you instill these beliefs in your players?
Yes, I do. And the thing is my idea of coaching is not a guy that just knows his X's and O's and is a genius play caller and, knows the game inside and out. It's coaching is much more than that, especially today. I feel as coaches, we're not only coaches on the football field, but we're mentors on it and off it. I think that's really important. There is coaches out there, that, I'm ashamed to say, that just care about what the athlete's production is on the field. They could care less about what the kids do off the field or what the kid's going to amount to after he graduates. I take the opposite approach. I care about the kid's production on the field, and I care about the student's production off the field. I care about what he's doing, who he's hanging out with, how he's doing in class, and even when he graduates, I like to stay in touch with the kids, and see how they're doing. And, it's very important today that we build leaders, that we build strong young men. I can't emphasize that enough. I've seen too much happen in the last 20 years, what's going on with society to, not believe in what we're doing. It's very important to build them the right way, and you gotta get them while they're young and while they're impressionable. And if you let a kid go through high school and, not knowing how to be a man, not knowing how to act, not knowing, what to say, how to behave, stuff like that, you are hindering that kid. You're also hindering and wrecking the future for others. Okay? So each kid is very important. Okay? And every kid you touch, every kid you educate, every kid you impact is very, very important. Okay? And because, if you strike a chord with a kid and you tell them, hey, listen, life's tough, but you have to persevere. Okay? And let's say that strikes a chord with him and he goes on through life, and no matter what is thrown his way, no matter what difficulties he has in his career or what difficulties he has in his family life, he perseveres. He finds a way. He doesn't resort to beating his wife. He doesn't resort to quitting his job or telling his boss off or fighting with his coworkers. He perseveres in some sort of way. He gets through it. He overcomes. He adapts. Right? So, and that in itself will feed others. Others will see that. We talk about leading by example. Well, this one kid could impact or influence 20 or 30 different people in his lifetime. Okay? Just by the way he's taught and the way how he deals with stuff in his life. So, it's very, every kid is important. I don't like when people say, well, this kid's a lost cause. This kid can't be helped. Well, no, that's wrong. He can be helped, and it's our job as coaches and as teachers and as mentors to bring him up the right way. I think what happened and what society is like it's today is because you gave up on children. Is because we gave up on people that we thought were malcontents or whatever. And they grew up and, what do they amount to? So, I take it as a huge responsibility as a coach and as a teacher, as a mentor to guide young men up the right way. whether it's being a man off the field, treating his girlfriend right, getting his grades up in school, getting his priorities straight, being respectful to his parents, teaching him accountability in life. Where's accountability today? Today there practically is none. Everybody wants to pin the blame. Everybody wants to say, well, it's not my fault. Well, there's no accountability. So that's what we try and teach our kids. Because every time you point the finger, that finger's pointing right back at you. You ever notice that?
Yeah, I have.
So I think that's the most important thing, and that's my contribution to society and the world is to make the future better, one kid at a time. You want to build them up to be men, good men, and I have a lot invested in this. I have a 3-year-old that's going to be growing up in this world. So other than that, I want to see humanity strive. I want to see, men do the right things. You want to see that. You don't want to see division. You don't want to see war. You don't want to see, men bickering amongst each other. That's our job as coaches. Not just to make these guys really good football players, or really good at picking up a blitz, or really good at throwing the football, or really good at jumping or running or whatever it is. We want them to be good men off the field as well, and that's very important.
So it's not just like I'm not just your coach on the football field. I'm your coach for life. Is what
Absolutely.
You're instilling in these men. And
Absolutely.
and what I know is that a lot of kids, especially because I never grew up playing sports. My dad wasn't really sports oriented, except like watching sports on TV. So I never grew up playing sports. I just grew up watching them and playing the game. Watching the game and watching football and whatnot. I didn't ever get an opportunity to play. But I noticed that a lot of these kids that have went through, we have a Pop Warner football that's out here, a small league from little kids, we've got a league out here, Pop Warner Football League out here in Arizona, where you've got kids that are 5, 6 years old, getting their gear on and playing, this game out here.
Right.
And it seems to me that their coach not only becomes it's like their go-to person in all of their life, no matter what adversities that they face. If they can't talk to anybody else in life, they can always go to their coach.
Right. Absolutely. That's the one thing that, I realized that as a coach, you're the kid's father, you're the kid's big brother, you're the kid's confidant. They'll bring stuff to you that they won't bring to their own parents. And I think that's not only a huge responsibility, but it's also a gift. You're given a gift by God to mentor this child, and helping him choose a right path. And you don't squander such gifts like that. When you're in a position of leadership, whether you like it or not, you have to do your job. You have to do the right thing. And, with it comes great responsibility. You have to lead example. You can't tell a kid, okay, not do this and not do that, and then go off in your social life and get drunk and swear like a sailor and do all this stuff. You have to lead by example too. Kids can spot phonies easily. So you're not only preaching it, you're living it yourself. And that's very important.
It is. Is there anything that can stop a person from reaching their goals in life, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I don't know. I think if someone is committed enough and willing to sacrifice to get what they want to get, I don't think anything's impossible. I really don't. And I truly believe that anybody can be who they want to be if they work hard enough, if they want it bad enough, if they're committed enough, and and that's an awesome thing. And that's why I love America. That's why my dad fought for America, because he really believed that America is the only country you could do such a thing, because we're free. It's a land of opportunity. You can be who you want to be. You're not grounded just because of, you know, where you live or the color of your skin or what religion you believe in or whatever. You can be anybody you want to be as long as you're committed and as long as you're dedicated to achieving what you want to achieve. I mean, there has been hundreds of examples throughout history that, you know, people have overcome, you know, adversity, extreme adversity, okay? And they were overcome to and accomplish all their goals. So yes, I do believe, and if anybody tells you otherwise, I think they're full of you know what.
Right? If you could do anything in your life that you've never done before, ever, what would it be?
Oh man, if I could do anything in life, let's see here. I would love to go to Europe and see some of the ancient battlegrounds, see some of the ancient artifacts over there, because I'm a history buff. Football is my passion, but history is my hobby. I'm always reading historical books. I love historical figures, especially you know, military history. I love the lessons that you can learn, and I'm just fascinated by what our ancestors did in the past and how they dealt with things and how we grew, how you know, mankind has grown through the centuries and the lessons it's learned, and you know it just fascinates me. So I think if I could do anything, I would go to Europe and look at ancient Rome, look at ancient Greece, look at some of the European battlegrounds. That would be just awesome for me.
Wow, that sounds great. Now you say your hobby is ancient military history. Do you use those teachings from our ancestors from back in the day? Do you place those on the football field? Do you see yourself as a general on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think to a degree, you know, I mean, a lot of people say football's like war, and you know, some people roll their eyes, but I think to an extent it is kind of like war. You're not killing anybody. It's not life or death, but you know, from a player standpoint, your goal is to beat your man in front of you. The same goal is within war. Beat your man in front of you. You know, football, it's all about persevering. It's all about, you know, which team works together the best, which team executes better, you know, and just like war is the same thing. Which country or which allied force works together the best? Okay, how do they solve problems? You know, what are they willing to do? What are they willing to sacrifice for total victory? And from a coach's standpoint, it's kind of like the two, you know, if you read ancient history and you see the armies fighting below and the two generals are standing on the hill. On opposing side is the general, and on the other side there's the other general from the other country or whatever, empire or whatever. And it's a chess match. You see the general out there, you know, first of all, going into the conflict or game, you study the other guy's tendencies, you learn about him, you study what he likes to do in certain situations, just like football. You study the opposing coach, you study the opposing players, you find out who's their best players, you find out who their weakest players are. That's what we call the chink in the armor. And you study what they like to do. How do they attack you? What do they like to go? What's their go-to on offense? So are they a ground and pound team? Do they like this certain play on third and short? Do they like to run this play on 1st and 10? What do they do when they get to the red zone? What kind of plays do they like to do? So it's basically the same thing in war. You know, you're constantly analyzing, you're constantly, you know, trying to guess, you're trying to stay 3 moves ahead of your opponent. And you know, I use military models all the time in football. The biggest thing is if we're facing a school that is, probably probably better than us, probably more talented than us, more stronger than us. I'll use the David and Goliath story, and I'll read them that story in the locker room, and and I'll tell them, hey guys, listen, we're going to be going into a hostile environment, okay, and we're going to be facing a team that is probably far superior than us, but if we stick to our knit and we keep believing and we trust each other and we stay as one, we can beat this team, okay? Don't worry about the fans and all the circus going outside the stadium. Don't worry about, anything else happening besides what you're supposed to do. What is your responsibility, okay? And, if everybody does their job on the football field, that team will win, regardless of who they play. If everybody does their job, you're going to win. You're going to come out victorious. And, same thing with David and Goliath. Goliath was a guy who was superior to David. David was a boy. Goliath was a warrior, a tested warrior, and he was their people's champion. David was just a boy. David was unheard of, no-name boy that when anybody was challenged to fight, he answered the call. He didn't sit back and whatever. He answered the call and said, I will do it. And just with a slingshot, no armor, no sword, no axe, no nothing, just with a slingshot. And everybody laughed at him. Everybody teased him. What is this? A boy, you send the boy to fight our champion. Well, guess what happened? The boy won. And,
Right.
it just takes a certain belief and a certain iron will, to win competition, to win strategies. And that's why I like to relate, mend both of them, the war and football. They are kind of the same when you think about, those contexts.
That's great. Yeah. Cause, I noticed that, it takes that you instill a lot of faith, that you have to put the belief that these kids have to believe in themselves to win.
Right.
Because if you don't believe in yourself that you're going to win, you won't. You've already defeated yourself before you even got on the field. Do you instill that in a lot of your kids?
Oh yeah, and just like what the Army does when kids go into boot camp, the Army will tear them down and they will build them back up and make them into a soldier. It's having the right mindset. Same thing in football. When kids come in, you got to teach them the ropes. I believe in tough love. I'm tough on my guys. My expectations of them are high, and when they don't meet those expectations, I'm going to get a little mad, and I'm going to get in, and I'm going to kick them in the rear, and wake them up. In training camp and all through the program and our off-season lifting, you have the mentality. You're tough on these kids. You are, because you can't baby them. You can't, coddle them. You got to be tough on them, and you got to make sure they understand what is expected of them. And the biggest thing that I think the problem as coaches we have with kids is the kids don't have any confidence in themselves. Okay, and I think that's just being a kid. I think when we're kids, we don't really have our self-confidence is really diminished. Okay, for whatever reason that's the way it is. And I think as coaches, we breathe confidence in these kids. We show them how to persevere and how to succeed in life and on the football field. And once these kids gain their confidences, they're totally different people. Okay, you'll have a freshman walk in one day who's small, lanky, no muscle on him, and he has a hint of athletic ability. And you watch him grow all through the program, and you watch him. You lift weights, you set these expectations for him. You're demanding on the football field, you're demanding in the weight room, and all of a sudden, by his junior year, the kid looks like a He-Man. The kid and he's got a confidence too. He's got a confidence that, okay, I can defeat anybody. I can beat anybody across from me. Not a cocky era, but a confidence level that he's a competitor. He can compete. It doesn't matter who he has in front of him. he can compete with anybody. And seeing that transformation as a coach, I can't explain the feeling to it. It's awesome. It is awesome to see what this kid looked like coming into his freshman year, and to see him evolve into the athlete and into the man he's become his junior year is just simply unreal. I mean, it's a great experience, and I live for that. I love that, And pretty soon, this freshman who was lanky and small and had maybe a hint of athletic ability in him, who was maybe being picked on or taught, is now his junior year teaching and mentoring the other freshmen coming in the sophomores, and how we do things in this program, what is expected of them, what the expectations are, and he can mentor them through because he was there. He went through all that stuff before. So it's a great thing, man. And like I said, it's just like what the Army does. You mentor men. You break them down a little bit, but you build them back up even stronger. Okay, and it works. It's an awesome process to see.
Now, I know a lot of these kids now that have went through that and that have done through that and become a different person from when you first saw them. Do you believe that they carry that with them throughout their whole entire life?
Oh yeah, I do. And like I said, I stay in contact with most of the kids that I've coached, and it gives me great joy to see them, graduate college or, get their first job, the job that, the career that they wanted, not the career that they're going to settle for, but a career that they wanted. Guys that are fathers now and have families, and and I've had kids come up to me all the time and say, wow, hey, I just, thank you. I can't thank you enough for pushing me through and putting up with my shit, and just, guiding me through it, because, I couldn't do the things I did today without having that kind of mentality, without having that kind of strength to overcome adversity. And, like I said, it's a great feeling. Once these kids learn, these traits, accountability, commitment, striving for excellence, being a man on the field as well as off the field, they don't lose that. They don't. It's ingrained in them. And I think a lot of the reason why is because they see the fruits of their labor. They see what it gets them. Okay. I think before, if a kid is struggling, whether he's in trouble with the law or he's hanging around with the wrong group, or if he's having trouble at home, they've been through hell. They know what that's all about. They know what happens to their friends, when they get in a car they're not supposed to, or when they make bad decisions. So when they learn these valuable traits and you teach them these lessons, and they become the men that you want them to be, they don't ever want to go back to what they were. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, absolutely, they take these lessons, what they learn, and they'll use them the rest of their life.
Wow. So now you're in a new direction now. You got a new coaching job. Everything's going to be changing for you. So can you give us a quick overview of what that's going to be like for you?
Well, my last coaching job was at West Bend West, and I was the defensive coordinator over there, and I was only there for 1 year. It was a 45-minute trip there, and then 45-minute trip back to my house. So it was kind of strenuous on my family being away like that, and after the end of the season, I thanked West Bend West the opportunity. I thanked them for the opportunity of having me as defense coordinator, but I needed to find something closer to home. And I was fortunate enough to call Matt Harris, who's the head coach at Waukesha North High School, and it's a high school where I graduated from, actually, in '94. And I'm humbled and thankful for the opportunity to come and be a part of his staff. And now, for the first time in my career, I'll be coaching the offensive side of the ball. I'll be coaching the offensive line. So I played offensive line in college and high school, so and semi-pro. So I pretty much know what is needed and what's demanded in the trenches. And I've gone to 2 coaches clinics, and I've been reading up on books. I've been, so I'm going to be ready when called upon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Waukesha North is in the Classic 8, which is probably the toughest conference in Wisconsin. 3 of the teams in this conference were state qualifiers last year. That gives you a little indication on how competitive this conference is. North right now, Waukesha North is kind of the middle of the pack team. I love what Matt Harris has done so far. I love the message that he's instilled, and I just hope to be part of that. I know that he likes what I'm all about. He respects me as a coach and as a person, and I'm thrilled to be part of this staff. And I'm looking forward to some awesome things going on in the future. I think he's in the right direction, and I'm really glad and fortunate to be a part of this now.
That sounds fantastic, Coach. I'd like to take this time to thank Coach Chris Chudada for being with us. His download is available at A Champion's Life at riseupchamps.com/store. He's also at riseupchamps.com/A Champion's Life. We're going to be featuring a montage video, which will be shortly after this segment, so we'll stay tuned. You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram, just /riseupchamps.com. So we here at riseupchamps.com, the online resources of champions, and with Rise Up Champ, make your mark and leave your legacy 24/7. I'm Easy Allen, easy like Sunday morning. Thanks for watching. Thanks a lot, Coach, for being with us, and we'll look to being forward to hearing good things from you. Thanks for being on the show today.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Jack it up.